Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Yes, Steve, good afternoon.
Hey, Josh.
What are you hearing about Terrence's injury and the severity of it?
I think, just day to day. And, he felt it the other night. He tried to do the shoot around this morning, and he was able to do it. But, he feels something in there. And, again, it's just it's not the type of injury that you want to mess around with. So, he'll be day to day, and, hopefully he'll feel better tomorrow.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, obviously he's such a focal point offensively for that second unit. How do you guys adjust, especially on the offensive end without him out there?
Yeah, we'll sub, it's going to be quite a bit differently, obviously, because, like you said, he's a big part of the offensive package with that group. And it'll be really the three guys that will get more minutes will be Cole, MCW, and Dwayne. We'll all play more. We'll play 5 on the perimeter instead of 6. And those guys will all get a few more minutes.
Alex Fleming.
Happy New Year, Coach.
Happy New Year.
Two-part question. One, can you envision how much better this team would be if you had Isaac and Aminu? And two, you've kept the minutes down for most of the players, 31 at less for the last 3 games. Can the bench sustain the points that they've been giving you?
Well, that's one of the big things that we'll evaluate as we go on, because the schedule is so condensed that I just don't see how, we don't have 2 days off between games again until February 3rd. So I just don't see how guys can be playing, big minutes, in my opinion. So we're going to continue to play 10. And as long as we're playing well enough to win, that's how we'll do it. And in terms of, JI and Chief, obviously, especially condensed schedule, I think, the depth of your team is even more. It's always important in the regular season, but even more so this year. So, that's where you get hurt with, 2 quality players who, are very good players. So, it's a hit in that way.
Dan Savage.
Cliff, the Sixers have been one of the strongest defensive teams in fourth quarters of games this season. What are they doing so well on the defensive end, especially, in the closing minutes?
They're very physical. They're big, and obviously Embiid is he's an incredible defender. People talk about his offensive game, but he's an incredible defensive player. And the other thing that they do, and this is not just him, it's all of them, is they create turnovers, which is a problem. They're 6 in points off turnovers. Danny Green's always been very good with his hands defensively. Ben Simmons is a great defender also, who led the NBA in steals, I believe, last year. So you have to be able to play with force. You have to be able to, take care of the ball, and you've got to get shots. When they steal the ball, they're gone the other way. And it's been a big part of their fourth quarters.
Dan, back to you.
Cliff, it looked like adding shooting around Embiid was a priority for them this offseason with adding Green and Curry. When they're spread out like that around him, just how difficult does it make them to defend?
Oh, very. And, and then Tobias is playing at a high level. So it's, they're big, they're versatile. I think that, you've got to be able to take away the paint is, first and foremost. If Embiid and Dwight are getting the ball deep, in the paint, those are their best, those stretches of play. And then, like you said, they've got so much shooting on the floor. And then Ben Simmons is obviously one of the most dangerous offensive transition players in our league. So there's a lot that you have to do to try to keep them down.
Josh Robbins.
Steve, what kind of progress is James Ennis making?
He played live today, 2-on-2 for a little bit for the first time. And I thought that the longer he went on, the more confident he looked, like in pushing off and everything. So again, a lot of it will be dependent on how he feels tomorrow. But he's definitely made good progress in the last week or so.
Dan Savage.
I know it's challenging with the lack of practice time and the travel schedule, but how is Mo's conditioning coming along?
He played 2-on-2 today also, and he's working hard. These injury issues it's more challenging than normal, obviously, because we're just not going to be able to practice much, and so it's hard for those guys to get really the type of work for them to get into rhythm they need to really be ready to play. And yet, again, with the condensed schedule, their time's going to come here. And, my message to them is whatever we can do, we have to do. You have to do it as hard as you can, get in the best rhythm, best condition you can. And then when you get out there, you got to be ready. And every other team's in the same boat. So it's just part of this, pandemic season. And there's no other way to do it.
Any final questions for Coach? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.